Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. Today we are looking at Dejah Thoris issue 1 from Dynamite. This is by Amy Chu, illustrated by Pasquale Quilano, colored by Valentina Pinto, lettered by Thomas Napolitano, main cover by J. Scott Campbell, which is I think the one that I have. Based on characters by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Of course, this is Dejah Thoris as the future wife of John Carter from the Barsoom series. Now, this series is Volume 2, and this is Issue 1 from Dynamite. Now, we start off with Dejah talking to her father or grandfather about the history of the planet a little bit, and she wants to go looking for the lost city of Ephesium, thinking that there may be secrets there as to how they irrigated the planet and how they collected water, that sort of thing. But she's in Lesser Helium, in the Royal Library in the not-so-distant past, arguing with the librarian/teacher guy there, and his name is Master Dallas, and he's apparently denying that Ephesium actually exists. She's insisting that, it is real, and he's like, no, you gotta worry more about the white apes and resources, and he gives her a bunch of books to read and says that stop focusing on fictional places. Well, she wants to go to the Royal Academy, where she meets a couple of students. One is, of course, purple-haired super genius hydroponics engineer. I don't know why somebody on an alien world has purple hair when no one else seems to, especially when she's dressed differently when meeting the princess. That seems a little out of place. Anyway, she takes these students to go onto a ship, but is interrupted by her father, who calls her out in front of everybody, which is very unroyal-like. And then when she gets back, she accuses the instructor, Master Dallas, of betraying her. Apparently, her dad's trying to marry her off to some guy. That's not really gone into like it probably should be. It's just referenced briefly on like 3 panels. So she sneaks off with those 3 students, but is quickly attacked by some kitty cats. I forget what they're called. I don't really care. And then a white ape shows up at the end just as her bodyguard shows up, and he's really old and bitter and cynical. I liked him. Me and him would get along. Yeah, that's kind of the whole issue. It's building up to her search for Ephesium, the city, but nothing really happens in this issue. This really could have been handled in issue 0 and could have been explained in 2 issues, like her recruiting these students that were supposed to help her research this, and then setting off on the journey, and then we could have had that animal fight in the middle of the book, and something else leading to a more interesting cliffhanger. The white ape is interesting. That could have been the cliffhanger at the end, but it really doesn't go anywhere. The issue just kind of putters along. They don't really talk about her planned wedding, except for a couple panels. It's kind of briefly alluded to. I had to read it twice to even notice that. The art, I think, the cover art from J. Scott Campbell is really nice, actually. Very feminine. Some of the interior art's pretty good. Not really my style, but I don't like some of the positioning of people. There's a lot of weird perspectives and stances. There's the scene where she's in the library and it looks like she's about to ride some roller coaster or something. She's half bent down, like the floor's uneven. Nobody stands like that. Nobody. And the guy looks like he's gonna take off running. I don't get it. And then we've got another ground level perspective where her feet look gigantic and it's looking up. I don't understand that. This is not a fisheye lens photography session, and that won't make a good picture. Animals look pretty cool. Most of the time, people look okay, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of that art style. It's okay. When it works really well. When it doesn't work, it looks horrific. But overall, not a bad issue. It just doesn't go anywhere. It kind of meanders. So I'm going to give this kind of a middle of the road. Get it or don't, doesn't really matter. I would personally wait until issue 2 when something is probably going to happen, because I pretty well summed up what happened, and it wasn't much. So for a first issue, it doesn't really start with a bang. Hopefully this series is going to pick up. I'm going to give it a few more issues. It wasn't the most boring thing I've ever read, but it's just not dynamic. It's not inspiring me to pick up another issue. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, they're doing a lot of talking and some stuff, but no real action till near the end of the issue. Dejah seems like a little bit foolhardy, but not bad as far as the character goes. I just think this is it feels a little forced at times, so I'm going to give it a few more issues to see how it works out, but overall it's kind of just bland. I don't know if it's worth $4. I didn't think it was. $2 for that, yeah, if it had a little bit more going on maybe, but the plot isn't plot heavy, it's just kind of drifting. So if it had been a little more like intrigue and politics or something, okay, I could kind of see an issue with very little action. But for what they're trying to do, it's just a little boring. So yeah, I don't know that I can recommend this, but hopefully the series gets better. But we'll see. So that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.